The Mercedes EQA isn't the most sophisticated small EV out there, nor does it have the longest driving range. But the Stuttgart maker is hoping that when it comes right down to it, this will be the car that customers in search of a premium alternative in this class would rather have.
Not all electric vehicles spring away from rest like Usain Bolt. We had somehow expected that this rather unassuming looking Mercedes might not, but no, there's the early throttle travel linearity of an on-off switch, and that means that until your right foot learns to modulate it, the instrument screen's blinking yellow traction control light will be getting a thorough workout here. This is despite the fact that the amount of power being controlled here isn't actually huge, not in this volume EQA 250 model anyway, which has an asynchronous 190 horsepower electric motor mounted between the front wheels, drawing on the 66.5 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery pack that's common to all versions of this car. And this sits between the axles and forms a structural part of the chassis. Because, unlike most of its rivals, this EV doesn't use a bespoke electric vehicle platform. It carries around a bit more weight than the class norm. You'll feel that if you start throwing it around in the kind of manner that a typical owner never would. Concern over driving range, a little below the class standard, rated with the EQA 250 at the best of 263 miles, might inhibit you from doing that anyway. If you do need extra performance and traction, then Mercedes offers two all-wheel drive variants which add an extra rear-mounted motor, namely the 228 horsepower EQA 300 4MATIC and the 292 horsepower EQA 350 4MATIC. Whatever model you choose, you'll find this car more in its element around town, where you'll appreciate the light steering and also the compact turning circle that you might need for getting into those tight charging bays. With a rapid charging supply, the 100 kilowatt DC onboard charger will allow the battery to replenish itself from 10 to 80% in 37 minutes. More commonly, you'll be powering up from something like a 7.4 kilowatt wall box, charging from which to 100% takes 10 hours 45 minutes. Beyond the city limits, where the rather gritty low-speed ride improves somewhat, the EQA reveals itself as a pleasant, supple and very refined high-speed cruiser. In that respect, at least, it's recognisably a Mercedes. Even if you didn't know that Mercedes hasn't started off with a clean sheet in designing this car, you might guess the fact from a glance at it. This is clearly an electric derivative of the brand's GLA compact SUV, although the front and the rear sections have been restyled to fit in with the company's current EQ vehicle design language. A little disappointingly, it's all quite a long way from the rather futuristic concept EQA show car of 2017, which was supposed to prepare us for what a small battery-powered Mercedes might look like. Okay, time to check out cabin design, usually a strong point with small Mercedes models. This tall roofline allows for a notably raised hip point, which for older owners will ease getting in and out. And at the wheel, well, Mercedes didn't really need to redesign the GLA's cabin for this car, and it hasn't, not at first glance anyway. Delve into different display options available across the usual glitzy screen fest common to all small models from the marque these days, and you'll find some EV specific stuff, but otherwise everything's just as it would be in a GLA, which means you sit quite high, 140 millimeters higher than you would in an A-Class, and the cabin is dominated by the premier size of widescreen layout from the brand's cabin portfolio for smaller models, and that sees a colourful 10.25-inch centre dash infotainment display paired with an instrument binnacle screen of the same size. There are plenty of ways to interact with this advanced MBUX or Mercedes-Benz user experience setup, touchscreen, voice control and various touch pads. And of course, as ever in a Mercedes, you're surrounded by premium touches like these intricately fashioned double-stitched door cards and these circular silver jet engine style vents which decorate the dash and are an integral part of the classy ambient lighting system which brings the interior alive at night. Luxury downsizers will love it all. Okay, time to take a seat in the second row. Now this is an area where this EQA simply can't replicate what's on offer with the GLA showroom stablemate. As I mentioned earlier, a huge, great half-a-ton battery is, after all, positioned directly beneath the rear bench. Again, this is a design feature you might well guess without actually knowing about it. So significant is the rise in floor height necessary to accommodate all those lithium-ion cells. The result is a bench base positioned much closer to the floor than you might be used to, and that in turn means that your knees end up closer to your chest than they would usually be. Finally, let's take a look in the boot, accessed via a standard Easy Pack powered tailgate, which further up the range can be activated by a wave of your foot beneath the bumper if you happen to be approaching your EQA laden down with child seats and other paraphernalia. Once the hatch powers up, there is, as expected, a compromise to make here, thanks to all that battery underneath the floor. The GLA's 435 litre capacity figure up to parcel shelf level. It's 385 litres with the GLA plug-in hybrid, falls to 340 litres here. Still, if you load to roof level, that figure rises to 435 litres, which is probably about as much as most owners will need. Pushing down the rear bench in its entirety opens up 945 litres of almost flat space up to window level, or up to 1320 litres if you load to the roof. There's lots you might like about the EQA. It is, after all, a very Mercedes-style package with a feeling of cabin elegance, sophistication and quality that many competitors struggle to match. We are a little disappointed that Mercedes chose to patch together an electric family car from the engineering of a combustion-powered one, but not everyone cares about design semantics of this sort. We always thought, though, that the Mercedes mantra was the best or nothing, which means that in this case, the best is clearly yet to come.